Most of the access tracks and natural features in Litchfield National Park shown in this video are not yet open to the public. The recent exploration of this area was mostly carried out by 4-Wheel Drive NT and its club members as part of the M.O.U. agreement between themselves and Northern Territory Parks and Wildlife. There are development proposals for many of the sites shown. When they are developed, Northern Territory Parks and Wildlife will provide regulated 4-wheel drive vehicle access for bush-style camping to enable the enjoyment of this beautiful area. Mountain bike and bushwalking tracks are also planned for the area. Locked up and lost forever. When it comes to decent 4-wheel drive tracks within national parks, the closure list seems to be growing around the countryside. However, Parks and Wildlife Northern Territory are bucking the trend, and it's an initiative I couldn't be more excited about. More details on that shortly. For now, I have to pack up and head up to the Territory to see this program that's going on between Parks and Wildlife and also the top-end 4-wheel drive clubs to see how they're working together to accomplish this. As mentioned, we will be enjoying the magnificent weather that the Northern Territory is turning on early in the dry season. Our main focus over the next 3 episodes is the work going on in Litchfield National Park, situated 120 kilometres south of Darwin with easy access for the visiting public. The 90-minute drive via the Stewart Highway gains you entry into the park through the town of Bachelor, where last-minute groceries can be obtained. Blythe Homestead is of interest to myself due to its pioneering history, as well as a starting point for this expedition. It's been a long time since I've visited this area. Many years ago, Jode and I travelled through here looking at all the beautiful waterfalls, doing all the tourist attractions. So I'm really excited to be back here, back in Litchfield National Park, and this time it's for a different reason. Depending what time you visit the park, if it's not too soon after the wet season, you may very well have to negotiate some creek crossings on the way to Blythe Homestead. It's got a good bit of depth to it, this one, and it's fairly wide as well. Not very clear though, because it does get a lot of traffic through, stirring up that water. Blythe Homestead has many facets to its history. Originally located east to Stapleton Station, the Sargent family purchased Stapleton and decided to move Blythe from its original location. Now that was no easy task. It had to come across the tabletop ranges via a cart with a team of 32 horses, and then it had to be rebuilt on this spot. Now what makes this place special? Why did they choose this location? Well, it had a good water source for starters, but was also in close proximity to the tin mine. So the family could generally use the land for the cattle in the dry season, and in the wet season they would do tin mining. So very resourceful family, and from what I've researched, they also grabbed any opportunity they could to better their future. Life wasn't always easy for the Sargent family. They were very hard workers, and they actually had dairy cattle, so they had butter, cheese, milk. They grew their own fruit trees, vegetables, and also some grains to make bread and so forth with. So they were very resourceful. After 40 years of using this land to its fullest extent, the Sargent family sold to the Townsend family. And it was the Townsend family, in conjunction with the Northern Territory government, that decided to permanently save this little piece of bush architecture and the land around it. We now know it as Litchfield National Park. Now, I don't know about you, but I certainly get a kick learning about the pioneers, what they did in their life, their story. Now, a new chapter for Litchfield National Park is about to open up. More about that shortly. Around 20 psi seems to work really well for this rocky country. There you go, that's a speedy tyre deflator. Super quick, especially when you've got 6 wheels to deal with. Why do I need to lower my tyre pressures? Well, I have teamed up with Mel Stewart, the president of Four-Wheel Drive NT, to highlight the work the Northern Territory Four-Wheel Drive clubs are doing with the national parks up here. His co-pilot Dory is accompanying him in his well-kitted out Nissan Patrol. Escorting us also during our time in Litchfield and driving a Nissan Patrol too is the duo of Linda and Colin.
Did you get that on the camera?
Linda takes care of steering duties and our ever-faithful roving scout Colin spends most of his time out on foot. Both are members of the Top End Four-Wheel Drive Club. We've veered off the graded road from the main tourist section and we are on this track now that is not too well defined at all. It hasn't been used for a very long time. We've cleared a couple of bits and pieces out of the way, a few logs and fallen branches. I'm just about to go up a little hill climb here. It's starting to get a little bit interesting. Doesn't look too bad so far. There's a bit of erosion up in front I can see. Okay, yep, no, it does get interesting. I take that back. But we'll just ease the camper up, keeping an eye on it. Just follows me everywhere. It's so well behaved. As long as I behave myself in this seat, it's fine. See Mel up in front, his little camper trailer's bouncing all over the place. He's still going. This is so much fun. In low range and loving it. Into a little sandy section. Get a bit of cross up action happening. There we go. Easing the camper trailer in. It's a bit of a big beast compared to what Mel is towing. Mine's a little bit wider, the Ultimate. That's okay. We can deal with that. We just have to take it a little bit slower. Sure and steady wins the race here. That's the name of the game. Away we go. I've just walked up in front. There's a couple of rock ledges I have to negotiate whilst climbing. There is a track around to the right to avoid those ledges, but if I stay with the ledges it means I can keep my camper trailer nice and straight, and that's the better option. That's the one I'm going to take. Got to roll up to it now, squeeze between a few trees, and there's these massive chunks of rock just sitting on top of each other, just waiting to tumble down. So as long as they stay in their place while I sneak on past, first step. Might go a little bit of diff lock action here, I reckon. Why not? Got them there, may as well use them. Yeah, lots of flex happening now. And Linda in the single cab ute behind me. She's driving on up. Suspension is working beautifully. These tracks are not your typical well-defined roads I would normally associate with when travelling in national parks. Our mission today is to get to the Camel Hump. One hump or two. It's an interesting little piece of landscape from what I've heard Mel talk about, and it can be a little tricky and you need a bit of guidance through it. We don't have the camels in Australia that have the 2 humps, we only have one. But anyway, this isn't a real camel. Just a bit of land that looks like one. Mel did voice his concerns earlier to me about fitting through this tight spot with a camper in tow. This could be interesting.
When you get to there is the problem because it starts to tip the car over that way and you've got to try and avoid. Mel just squeezed through.
Alright, well,
but anyway, we'll just watch and give you a hoy if anything looks like it's going drastically wrong.
I appreciate that. If you can keep an eye on this side for me, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm at the infamous Camel Hump, and it is very narrow. Mel only just scraped through. Now it's my turn. Got a good spotter up there. Cole, he's going to help me. See how we go, take it nice and easy. It's like this little crevice in between these hills, and it does get its name from that hump shape. But it looks like it's caused some people some dramas because they've tried to build it up with a bit of bitumen in the past. And you've got this ledge to climb up first, and then this really narrow bit. Concentration phase, because this is tricky. I'm trying to go super slow so I can control it, but I keep stalling it. My cruiser is almost 200 mils narrower than the Ultimate. I'm feeling like a Kardashian trying to squeeze into skinny jeans all of a sudden. Do you want me to go back?
No, can't go back now, you've got to go forward. And you've got to turn this way, mate. Turn that way.
I'm really nervous. It's on tight.
Okay. Slowly, slowly. You might have to pack it out for the camper yet.
Yeah. I've hit a rear tray box. I hear it scratching. That's my hubby BJ's voice, multitasking on camera one and acting as another set of eyes for me.
Going to be to get that camper around the corner. We can probably cut a log and drop in there and it will scoot across. Yeah, I think that's probably the best bet.
The Camel's Hump bites. It bit my rear storage box. So the main concern now is getting the camper trailer through without scratching it.
Yeah, you've got clearance at the moment. If you hold that line, what we'll do, we'll drop a log in so your wheel heads forced uphill.
Okay.
Either that or it'll lift it, one of the two, which either way it's better for you.
Yeah.
Only a little love scratch.
Is it? On the rear box, storage box? Yeah. Cole's putting a log in there to try and force my wheel up so I don't scratch the camper. This is a really tricky spot. Thanks, Cole. Road building. Cole's out there building roads for me. What a mate.
What happens when we get to that point, I don't know, but
Worst comes to worst, I'm going to move those logs up in front.
Yeah.
Go again.
Maybe if I jam that other one, like I said, we'll just ease it forward and see what happens.
Yeah, yep.
I do seem to find myself in these precarious predictions.
Oh mate, just inch it, hold that line for another about foot, and then I'll get you to straighten up if it looks right, okay?
Alright, set. Okay. Alright.
Start straightening up.
Slow and steady. I have managed to drag this camper right across Australia, so I have no plans of damaging it now.
You're going to be another foot and a half, 2 foot.
Keep going. Nail biting. More road building.
Everything's at a top there, isn't it?
Yeah, yep.
Do you want this one too, Tom?
Yeah.
Linda's got this massive piece of timber. Go, girl. Team player right there. Thank you. These guys are unreal.
See what happens?
Oh, this is hard work. I'm stuck with my seatbelt. Can't move. Can't really see what's in front of me either. Oh, it's undressing me, this track. Things are tough. Yeah. This is why I love working with four-wheel drive club members in the top end. They are all team players, happy to roll up their sleeves and lend a hand. What's in front of me, mate?
Nothing starts to drop.
Oh man, that was close.
Yeah, just very, very slowly, buddy.
No worries. I am nearly there. I'm nearly over the hump.
Do not come back. Okay, start driving. Straighten up and head to the camper.
Thanks team, camper is through and no new pinstripes. Well done.
Looking good, buddy. Looking good.
It's my code name from my hubby, Whitey. He's out there helping the crew get me through. Oh man, that was a piece of landscape to be reckoned with. That was out of control, so tight. Made it through only just with one little scratch. Mel got it through, no worries, and we've just got Linda to get through now. So I'll move forward a bit, I think, and see how she's going to go. Damn cruiser handbrakes. So, hands are still shaking a little bit. That was a really, really tough section to come through. Thank goodness I had these guys to help me out. They were building the truck for me and pushing my camper over. I think I owe them a beer. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Linda. You're the champion. Whew. Wow. And Linda makes it look so easy. Good on you, mate.
That looked easy.
You had a massive wheel in the air there.
Excellent. Did you get that on the camera?
Sure did.
Did you get, oh, all good.
The Camel's Hump track has been closed to the public for nearly 20 years, but I have been told by my family it was a tough track even back then. One that demands your attention the whole way. My type of track.
You're looking good.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks.
Yeah, I think the trailer's looking pretty good. Probably a little bit leftish at the moment. Right.
Yeah?
A little bit to the right.
Yeah.
Just veer over, just clear this tree here.
Okie doke.
Is that antenna alright, is it?
Yeah, it'll bend. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, probably right hand down a bit.
Yeah.
Good. No worries.
She's groaning. Weave through these trees, just come through another little tight section of rock which you can't do much about.
Yeah, you're all clear of the danger zone now. It's only this bit of shrubbery here, but I'll try and push that off as you go
Okay,
past.
thanks Carl. Carl's out there guiding me on this track. Massive help right now because there's so much to see when you're towing. You've got to keep an eye on so much. And whatever bush I'm leaning up against at the moment, it smells amazing, kind of like this eucalyptus-y kind of smell. It smells sensational. Thanks a million, Cole.
Yeah, all good. You're clear of everything now.
Cheers, mate. Just dropping down a ledge. Ooh. That felt a little bit exciting. Yeah, they may be a bit of a problem. Ooh. Awake. Between you and me, you're looking at someone who has had no sleep whatsoever last night, like zip zero. We may have spent all night fishing, as we do. I don't think I'll be doing that again. Getting too old to pull off that kind of thing. Bit tired today, and you've got to be on your game on these tracks. You can't be sleepy. So I've had like quite a few V drinks, and if I took my hands off the steering wheel, you'll probably see them shaking from the amount of caffeine that I've pumped into myself. Keep me going. But we are rolling, we're still moving forward and loving every minute of it. These guys are great to travel with. Really easy, cruisy, know their stuff, know this track, and it's a pleasure to be with them.
Tight squeeze.
Yeah, it was very much so. We do have plans of camping on a crystal spring this evening, but so far the last 5 kilometres has taken us about 4 hours. Alright, little tight section we have to weave through an old creek bed. Gets a bit lumpy. Hopefully we should be able to squeeze through. Cole did have a bit of trouble on one corner, but we fixed up a tree. So I'm just about to drop into the first hole now. It's sandy and a little bit moist, no chance of bogging though. We are not done yet. We have more articulation in front. Hey? Ah, my bad. Curly section there. Actually lost the track for a bit there. I was going the wrong direction. Got a bit disorientated in there. Wake up, Penzo. Linda's about to come through now. That was a very interesting little section. There's this amazing rock formation in front of me. It's the tallest one I've seen so far. It looks awesome. This is all sandstone country we're going through here. Got your pandanus palms and it's absolutely beautiful. Coming up to that magical time of day, the golden hour, most photographers call it. It's 10 to 4 when the lights really starts to play on those oranges. It looks beautiful in the afternoons. Weaving through the rocks again, a familiar story on this track. Just following Mel, he's leading the way, doing a magnificent job. Oh shit. Nearly got a tree there. That'd be interesting. To watch when you lift up a log too, that they don't flick up and do panel damage. If you can, try and cross them in the centre so it doesn't give them any cantilever to kick up on you. Sometimes it's unavoidable, you can't see them in the grass, but generally you can cross them okay.
It's also interesting seeing the country just after the wet when everything is green and tall. It's completely different to when the fires start coming through. And when we're exploring these new to old tracks, it's very different driving through grass that's 6 feet high to driving through when it's all burnt off. Very, very different.
We have been on the go this morning ever since daybreak. We've been gearing up for this track and it's been a really challenging track so far, so it's sort of had all of our attention to just get it through unscathed. So later tonight around the fire I would like you to meet the crew that I'm travelling with. They are a great bunch and I know you're going to love them. We've actually popped out at the car park of the Lost City here. This is where the track meets up with the already developed part of the national park. It's a very narrow gate. I have to try and squeeze through, of course. There it is. Lost City car park. Hasn't changed much since I was here last time. If you ever get the chance, this is a great walk. You can walk in amongst these towering pillars. It's really pretty and well worth the drive in, especially this time of day. It's going to be magnificent. This part of the track is fairly high speed. We're doing 40 kilometres an hour, which doesn't sound very fast, but after you've been in low range, first gear for most of the day, this is fast. We're on a graded track at the moment before we turn off, and our aim for tonight, our destination, is to reach a place called Crystal Springs. We're not sure if we'll get there by dark, but we do hope to make it tonight so we don't have to camp on the track. It's a really pretty campsite with fresh water there. So that's our plan. Fingers crossed we make it tonight. Here we go, this is our turn. This is the very exciting next chapter for Litchfield, one of the new tracks. I am so excited to take a peek at what's at the end of this track. We've got a few obstacles coming up, but nothing that we can't handle, reckons Mel, so we'll see how we go. Hopefully setting up camp before dark. We've only got maybe an hour of travel. So let's see what's in front. Let's gear up, get ready for this. Instructions from below to turn up my trailer brakes, which makes me wonder why. And I think I know why. We're going downhill and it's a bit gnarly. Mel's made it down to the bottom. It's giving me the call, come on down. This is one of the last obstacles we have to do before we can set up camp. So I'm kind of keen to get it done. The sun is starting to sink down below that horizon. And it's much better to do these things in daylight hours. If you have to do it in the dark, you need good spotties so you can see what's going on, but I think we'll be fine this time of day. A little bit of light left. Just about to stick my nose down it. First gear, low range, trailer brakes cranked up. Hill descent, here we come. Oh yeah, she looks loose, alright. Weaving through some trees, of course. There is kind of two ruts that I'm trying to stick to. So that'll keep me in position if things do go a little hairy. Just concentrating here for a moment. Just gotta get this down. It's a little, oh, doesn't feel so great. I'd normally also use my handbrake in this scenario, but it's currently out of action. Typical flaming cruisers, they got the worst handbrakes. I'm gonna get an upgrade when I get home, I think. You can do a mod on that. It's on the list for next trip. Ooh, close to a tree, close to a tree. Come on, Benzo, you got this. What a way to end the day, hey? Linda was telling me before, they've been out here clearing the track originally, showing me the spot where they camped and the first time they came out here. It's really interesting to hear their stories and their memories of opening up this beautiful piece of country. They have done a magnificent job with this road. I mean, to try and get from there down to the bottom here is no mean feat. To originally scout that out, these guys have done really well. We are on the last section of track. It has been a very...
About 5 minutes now, guys.
Woohoo! Yahoo! It sounds awesome. We are nearly there.
I can't believe how little the track shows up.
It has been a really long day and some serious off-roading. Last section of track.
Very large tree across it here.
Ooh, we thought we were close. One more obstacle.
So do you need the door?
Well, to try it with the ball rubber, I don't think I'll do much good.
So instead of making new tracks, we are going to the effort of clearing the old track because it's still fine underneath, it's just all this tree debris that's on it. So rather than making a greater impact on the environment, we're just moving it away and using the existing road. This is it, we have reached camp for tonight. This is the usual area the crew sleeps at and has a campfire just behind me. There's a creek running here and they say it's a good spot for a dip as well, and it's just beautiful. There's this monsoon jungle weaving its way through. What a spot. I've decided I cannot wait till tomorrow. I want to show you this place tonight because it's way too exquisite and pretty to wait. This here is a thermal pool. It's about 27 degrees if you dip your toes in there, and it's the perfect spot for a bit of champers and a cool down. Don't worry, tomorrow I'll show you around, but for the time being, we're going to enjoy this little slice of paradise. This bath comes complete with guppies and the occasional yabby that nibbles at your toes. On me at the moment I have a shrimp, he's biting my ankle, a yabby and many guppies. You can't be scared of little creatures here because they're everywhere. I'm sure they're wondering what I'm doing in their home. Now this is truly a small slice of paradise. As promised, I wanted to introduce you to the crew that I'm travelling into this area with, and this is Mel. He is President of 4-Wheel Drive Northern Territory. Mel, I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. How did this unique opportunity come about between Parks and Wildlife?
Well, about 4+ years ago, we didn't have a really good relationship. Anyway, they called me in, which they did the right thing. They called me in for a discussion about all this, about maybe there was some common ground, or that they could help us, we could help them. One of the ways we could help is you know, they always have a lack of resources, and we were very interested in opening up old 4-wheel drive tracks and clearing them for them, where they could then use them for any of their type of maintenance activities like weed poisoning or feral animal control. As far as tracking goes through it, there might have been some very old ones, but they were not negotiable to really the Parks and Wildlife even, but there was just a few that were, and they led to various areas like Wongi Falls, Florence Falls, and they were getting very crowded with people, particularly in the dry season. They were really overcrowded. So the thing came about that we talked about what we could do and things we could do, and Litchfield was very underpopulated, you might say, and vast areas may have had some old tracks through it when it was part of the pastoral industry, but those areas obviously had some very nice places that we could go, but they needed an access to them. And so, you know, I said, well, that is, you know, the members of the 4-wheel drive clubs of Top End and Toyota Club and all that, which are in the Top End, could go and explore these and clear these very old tracks to make access to areas to see what the attractions are.
I think it's a wonderful partnership that you've developed together, and yeah, working as a team to come back into these areas. And like you say, the more popular spots of Litchfield are becoming a little bit overcrowded, so to be able to open up some other areas is quite exciting.
Yes, we also went to workshops, invited to them, and there were people there from all walks of life with interest in Parks and Wildlife, including some of their ranger staff. And there was probably 30, 40 people in the workshops, and we were in groups. And one of the biggest findings from that workshop is that Litchfield needed more 4-wheel drive tracks in it to separate more people from these overcrowded areas. And this is what we could do. We could help to find ways, find old tracks, old evidence of tracks into these, what were maybe mainly identified from the air and things like that as attractive areas to enable eventual access to the public people.
And I think the work that yourself and the clubs have done, Mel, seeing those plans from National Park to get to the next stage, the next planning stage, to see where the campsites will be and the car parks must be exciting as well.
Yes, well they've had a number of people out here now, planners of course, to come up with with these drawings for these areas, and they've been here now. They've used the tracks that we cleared to get access, look at them and design the future for these areas, and there has been money allocated for it. I mean, the Minister made an announcement of $12 million for advancements in Litchfield, and most of that will be in the areas that we've got here where there's a cluster of waterfalls and gorges and things like that.
Yeah, beautiful scenery. And what sort of timeline are we looking at for that to eventuate?
Well, I think that once it gets Aboriginal Protection Authority clearance, then they'll be starting this financial year, and probably hope to almost complete it within 2 years, and because there's quite a lot involved. They're going to improve the tracks and things like that into the areas and clear areas for camping and drop toilets, things like that. All will be coming to these areas, and then people will be able to come here. Other people will be able to come here. Only initially it will be just for four-wheel drive vehicle use.
That was another question, Mel. At the moment, access-wise, what's involved currently? How do people go about that?
Only club members at the moment, and Parks and Wildlife staff can come in here. I mean, we did all the hard work, so we've had fairly exclusive access, and we expect to have that maybe only for 1 or 2 more years as it's developed, and then we won't have that exclusive access, but other responsible people hopefully can come into the areas. Like each of the camping sites will be laid out, and there will only be so many camping people and vehicles and camper trailers and tents allowed in here, so it doesn't destroy what's a beautiful environment.
Yeah, what you've shown me so far is just incredible, and I just wanted to say a big thank you to yourself, Mel, for all your hard work in mapping and planning and bringing it to what it is at the moment and what it's going to be in the future, and also thanks to National Parks as well.
Yeah, well, it's great, Penny. You're here now around this nice little campsite, and I'm sure you're going to really enjoy exploring the area that we have explored, following the tracks that we've now opened up from what they were originally. We cleared them and all that, and I reckon you'll really love what you're about to see.
Bring on the waterfalls, I say, Mel. It sounds absolutely amazing.
They are amazing, the waterfalls and gorges.
Yeah, looking forward to it, mate. I might just check that camp oven and make sure our roaster's cooking away there.
Okay, Penny.
Thanks, Mel. Yeah, just a little bit more, I reckon. That looks like a pretty hearty meal. I'm going to need my strength up to do some exploring tomorrow. In my experience, one of the best things that you can do when you're touring is to travel lightweight. Now, there are a few essentials that you do need, but if you find an item that is lightweight and compact, you're already ahead of the curve. And that's exactly what this product here does. This is actually a portable loo. It's compact, easy to set up, so you can be hygienic and comfortable on the tracks. It's a great little space saver. Earlier, we had made our way into a proposed new campsite in the heart of Litchfield National Park. Getting here was just a small part of the fun, but now it's a new day and time to start exploring this magical spot. Doing a bushwalk down Crystal Spring. It's not a clearly defined track as yet, so the grass is quite tall, and when you're vertically challenged like I am, yeah, it's as tall as me. As we've been walking along, you can hear the sound of the rapids the whole way. We've just been looking for a way to get access to the creek, and the jungle is not quite as thick in this section, so we've made our way in, and this is absolutely beautiful. I reckon you could probably get a bit of a slide up and splash into this. It's so inviting for a swim, it looks amazing. Litchfield National Park is renowned for its waterfalls, and this section of the park is no different. Have a look at that amazing waterfall behind me. It's cascading down this stream. It's got a good flow on, and as you do the walk alongside it, you come across these plunge pools, and you can go for a swim whenever you see one. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, the reason we're here is because of an initiative between the Northern Territory Four-Wheel Drive Association and National Parks working together to develop this area, and you guys will be able to visit this sensational spot in the near future. Have a look, it's absolutely unreal, takes your breath away. There's not many places in Australia that I haven't towed a camper trailer to, and for that reason I'm often asked my opinion on what to look for when purchasing a camper trailer. Now, before I answer that question, I'll give you a bit of background knowledge of where I've come from. I actually used to have a camper trailer hire business many years ago, and over the years I've had the opportunity to try out Aussie Swag campers, Kimberley campers, Australian Off-Road Odysseys, and now the Ultimate. Now, the Ultimate for me has checked many boxes. It's got the king size bed, it's lightweight to tow, and it's much more civil inside. It's very pleasant to live in for a couple of months. You've got your sink and your kitchen inside, you can do your cooking in here. And towing off-road, it's got a short drawbar, so it responds very quickly. It's got good departure angles on it when you're going in and out of creeks, so it definitely ticks a lot of boxes. And for you guys, when you're looking for a camper trailer, just have a think about what sort of camping and off-roading you would like to do. One of the biggest pluses to the Ultimate camper trailer is the minimal setup time. It's literally 3 latches, you pop it open and job done. So my tip for you when you're shopping for your own camper trailer is to check the setup times, because there's nothing worse in the afternoon taking an hour to set it up and then in the morning an hour to take it back down, especially if you do the style touring that I do where you move every single night. You've got a new campsite every night, and the sooner you can set up and crack a coldie, all the better. Cheers guys, and happy camper trailer shopping. This creek flows into the Reynolds River just behind me, and there's a high chance that there's crocodiles in there, so we're not going to swim in that section, but here is perfectly fine. You can see the bottom, it's crystal clear, and as long as you don't mind the occasional yabby nibbling your toe, it's an excellent spot to cool down before you make the trek back to the campsite. I can't think of a better spot to see out the midday heat. Litchfield still remains one of my favourite top-end destinations. You will also be able to stay in this unique part of Litchfield in the not too distant future when public access is opened up. But if you want to get involved and be part of the action right now, contact either the Toyota Land Cruiser Club Darwin branch or the Top End 4-Wheel Drive Club and become a member. Get out here and join one of their group runs into this pristine area as they assist Parks and Wildlife Northern Territory to reopen this stunning location. Next time on Top of Down Under, with a base camp set up, we go exploring for the waterfall cluster that instigated the initial expedition back into this locked off part of Litchfield. There is plenty of off-road four-wheel driving as we crisscross this area, searching out isolated swimming holes along the way. We'll strap on the Ariats and trek down spectacular gorges that are yet to be named. I also have a favourite recipe to share. And there you have it, spicy plum thigh chicken fillets. They look amazing and my mouth is watering. And in this mini-series, my underestimation of one tough hill I'm yet to conquer means my recovery gear strains in an attempt to leave this beautiful landscape. Cutting it very fine for an all-night fishing trip with another club member in Darwin's backyard. And later we have our first Touring Tip Special episode coming up. It's something I've been working on for quite a while. It's things that I've learnt from over the years crisscrossing Australia. Tips on everything from travelling with a quad bike, first aid kits, solar panels, and also exploring in my boat. These tips should be really helpful and I'm happy to share them with you. Don't stress if you've missed out on any of the previous episodes. You can catch up online via Vimeo or YouTube. Join us next week in our special mini-series on Litchfield. We'll see you then.